everyone, this is Sue from Innkeeper's Journal. I have a few journals ready I would like to show to you today. I bought this doll that looked like a Raggedy Andy, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna make a journal out of that. So I took the doll apart, took the stuffing all out, and put the front of the doll on the front of the journal and the back of the doll on the back of the journal. And he was carrying this heart that says, Annie loves me. And I was gonna try to find some Raggedy Andy books, but they're really hard to find. So I ordered a couple online. I planned on taking them apart to, use images to make journal cards and stuff like that. Well, I bought these two books and I couldn't take them apart. So I ended up making the books into journals and finishing the fabric doll cover journal, and I made my own printable for having some journal cards and stuff. So the printable and pages that I used for in these journals are in my Etsy store. So, and then also at the end of the video, I have a couple projects I'm working on. I'll share some of those things that are in my Etsy store as well. So we'll start. I had to raise the camera up a little bit to get the biggest book in there. So I'll show the smallest book first. It sits on top of these other ones. And if the video gets too long, I'll have to make two videos. Maybe the last book will be in a separate video. So this is a hardcover book, children's book. I altered it into a journal. It's one signature. The story still is in order, just has pages of journal in between. It was a library book from, I think 1997 was the last year. So it's not a real old book, but I just have some images in a little pocket in the front. This was already in the book from the public library. I made a pocket here with a piece of vintage wallpaper. You can use to embellish the journal as you use it. And there's some pockets and this little journal page in here. And this is the book page. And I added a music sheet page and a little fabric collage on the journal card. Another pocket here. So it's just a little book of the story of Raggedy Andy's treasure hunt. I added different papers with fabric tabs and a fabric ruffle on the edge, and I did some sewing. And this is one of the journal cards that's in the journal, printable. Has a little fabric and a button on there. It goes in that pocket. This is the first page. And there's a flower here with some embellishments on it, and another page with fabric tabs. This isn't really sewn in the book. It's just a folded piece of paper, but you can write on all sides of it. Here's a little bit of trim that's wrapped around this little belly band, I suppose you'd call it. And here's a fabric pocket with some fabric squares across, and then another little flower embellished with some embroidery flowers and some rickrack. And here's the storybook. There's some writing in there. Makes it kind of neat. Some fabric ruffle with some sewing. Paper ruffle. Some stamping. Another piece of paper here. Some eyelash trim just laying around. Weave through this band. You can use it to embellish the journal. A lace tab and some vintage fabric. It's the middle of the signature. Just aged papers. This flips out. Little seam binding. Some more seam binding if you need it to embellish the journal as you're working in it. There's another journal card, little fabric on that pocket. And some embroidered flower trim there. Some lace trim on the pocket. Some more wallpaper, big piece of wallpaper, vintage wallpaper and fabric. some more trim hanging on the edge of that page. More fabric. There's another little journal card with some fabric squares. And then that's the back. So that's the one journal. Okay, I'll put that over here. Okay, and this is, we'll do the second journal. So this is the one I took the doll apart, put him on the cover, and this got a little journal card of Annie stuck in his pocket. No, it's not really his pocket, it's his pants. Okay, so it's just on the fabric cover. It's tied shut with seam binding. And then it has a large collage of different fabrics sewn together on the inside of the cover, and then inside the cover is this 6 by 9 inch manila envelope. You can do journaling inside. It's got some stamping and stuff in it, or you can seal it up and use it as an envelope. But it kind of goes into this pocket here, and the page kind of stabilizes the cover nice. And I tried to use the fabrics to make the journal look a bit raggedy. So it has just some ledger paper and some fabric pockets and just different little squares and swatches of the fabric. I used this fabric kind of as a theme throughout the book. That's, the papers are all aged and coffee dyed. There's a little pocket here. This is a copy filter with fabric tab and a book page painted over the words. There's a couple little swatches of fabric stuck in this pocket. This is a page that is in the Raggedy Ann printable kit. This kind of has large graph squares on it. This friendship, the friendship I stamped on there. This is a paper bag. I aged it. Has kind of a deep pink color. It's a fabric pocket and a corner tuck. And like this is some sheer fabric. Kind of looks like a tie, I thought. Then it has this page inside. This is a regular sheet of paper. So the journal is really quite big. The measurements will be in the Etsy ad. I had this little tag out of a shirt. I never knew where I was going to use it, and it just kind of matched into this project pretty well. And this is like a Franken pages, and had some journal cards that didn't print out very well, so I used it to put the fabric squares on, and you can journal on there a little bit. There's some trim just kind of wound and hanging over this little fabric band. And it kind of hangs out. There's a little pocket up here. It's fabric. This is a piece of the fabric. It flips up, and then it reveals this fabric pocket and this journal page. Kind of pretty florals on that. And this is some more pockets, and this is a fabric page with the fabric pocket. This is just, oh yeah, it's a little pocket up here for a little ticket or something that you might have. This is a Raggedy Andy. It's just a little turtle. It's just a little journal spot for in your journal. And this goes in this fabric pocket. Some tuck spots up here in this vintage fabric. There's a little piece of fabric in this pocket. This is a fabric page. Everything's, you know, kind of pliable and soft. I like my journals to feel like that. I don't like them to be too stiff. And this is, I think it's a little bit of some watercoloring on this page. Some pockets here with fabric. And here's another little collage fabric page. This is the other half of this is another printable page in the Raggedy Ann kit. This is another fabric page. Some aged paper with a pocket, Franken pages with a flower, old book page flower with a button. Some more stamping. This is another piece. This is another page in the printable kit. Little vintage fabric up here, just kind of hanging there. Kind of vintage fabric there. There's a little piece of some sheer hanging up here you can use for tabs or you know, whichever you'd like to use, or just leave it hanging there. Some Franken pages. This is a little tab up here. It's another journal card tucked in this fabric pocket. This is another fabric page. An envelope that flips out. You can tuck things in here. It's another tuck spot pocket down here. Tuck things in there. Some more ruffle on the edge. Another. I think I cut one of the journal cards in half. Just tucked it in there. This was kind of a card that I had. I didn't like the way it looked, so I did a fabric collage over and sewed on it, and I cut it to make this pocket and embellished it with this little sequins and beads piece. And some more fabric pockets. Another journal card that matches this journal page. And all the details of how many pages and things will be in the Etsy ads. Another piece of wallpaper here. Another vintage wallpaper in here. Another fabric pocket. Copy filter. And then this is the back page. Has another pocket with another manila envelope with stamping and writing inside. There's a bird on the back, and this slips in the back. And then it's tied shut with the seam binding. Pretty simple. The seam binding kind of weaves under his arms and through the back of his pants. If you don't like it, you can just take it out. So that's that journal. So now I have the last journal. And this was a pretty large book. I think it's like 9.5 by 13. And it looked kind of shiny and new when I got it. So I sanded it down and aged it. Made a spine and put some different patches of fabric in the spine. A little bit of rickrack. Then this strip piece of fabric kind of matches. It has kind of a bead dangle with an owl hanging. It's kind of ball pinned on there with some beads. And then that goes through the bindings. It's not glued in. You can glue it in if you don't want it to move, but you can kind of take it out if you prefer something else. This too has a patchwork of fabrics in it. They all have kind of the same fabrics and color themes in them. This is a really big journal. Raised up the camera, but I still don't know if it's going to all get in there. I'll try to kind of move it around as I explain it. And this is just glued onto the cover. This has a fabric page, fabric pockets. This is just a little old book page painted over, some words for journaling on. A lot of the wanted some of the fabrics to stick out on the bottom. It has fabric ruffles on the side, some tabs with some charms on. It has a bookmark with some beads hanging on. The bookmark's just laying in there. You can move that around too. And this page lifts up, and there's a little fabric pocket with this little journal card tucked in under here. I wanted to try to keep the pages, which are quite large, but I wanted to keep the pages so you could still journal, but yet there's it's got a lot of interaction on the pages, so there's a lot of places to write and tuck things and, you know, have some fun. There's a pocket here and a little journal page, and then another pocket up here with this little embellished piece that has a flower, kind of hangs in there. And this is another kind of flip and a ticket in there, some ruffled edges, and this flips up, and this is another one of the little patchwork journal cards, and this turns over, and this is the book page. The story does go in order. And then it has the journal pages tucked in between. They've all been kind of aged. Like I said, the book was kind of not new looking, but let me see if I can figure out the age of the book. Copyright 1950, 60, 70, 60, 75, 50, 60. This 1988 edition. So there's probably a lot of different editions, but this is the 1988 edition. So, then it's got some more different, the pages that are in it have various sizes. There's a little tuck spot in here. Tuck spot. Like I said, this is like a normal piece of paper, so you can kind of tell in comparison how big the journal is. And it just has fabric pockets. This is like out of a journal book of some kind. I thought that was kind of neat. Stuck that in there. Some pattern paper in there. This is a little fabric, like a fabric band, and it's got this jute through it with the bead that hangs down out of the book. It says True Friend, and it has a vintage fabric tab on there. I think the story is a little bit of this flips up. A little bit about getting the Raggedy Ann doll and or Raggedy Andy, maybe it is, and just the different things that they go through with him. I didn't read the whole story, but one place he went down the drain pipe or something. They tried to get him out of there, and kind of cute story. So this is a little pocket here, another pocket up here with the journal card with the fabric swatches on it. This is an envelope, flips out. There's a little pocket in there. I kind of like to make the pockets so that when you turn the page, the things don't flop out around. When the journal pages are kind of big, it likes to happen. And there's some pockets down here. It's a little vintage wallpaper in here. And some fabric on here. Another one of these. Like I said, I was trying to get a raggedy look to the journal. So everything was supposed to have a raggedy kind of look to it. There's some of the pages. I didn't do too much to the storybook pages, so it's a big story. Here's a tab with a bulb pin and a bicycle. This has another one of the journal pages. And this says it's a little, some of these things are just in here if you want to use them to put them on tags when you're working in the journal. I said casually. It says little book page words on there. This is Franken page. This flips up, has a little wallpaper in this. It's like an old man's suit. And this is a fabric, another piece of wallpaper in it up here. And this is a little pocket here under here. This flips up. And it kind of is holding these pages down. So then this is like a full sheet of paper, but it's, it's just glued in, and then you can kind of turn the pages and journal on all sides. And there's a little tuck spot, or a journal card in that tuck spot, and fabric tabs. This has a piece of, it's like from a quilt, and it just flips up, and it has a tuck spot under here. This wallpaper band kind of holds it down. There's a couple pockets here. I didn't like the way it was kind of gapping open, so I put this wallpaper down to divide the pockets so that things stay in there better. These are how I had to make the pages quite big, so they're hinged with these, like I would say, I can't figure it out. They're hinged somehow. So then this is another bulb pin with a little clock charm on it. Journal card. This is another one of the journal cards from the Raggedy Ann journal kit in my Etsy store. And this is another charm. It says, never, never give up. And this fabric, vintage fabric, is just folded over this and pinned there, so it stays. This is a little journal card. Another little, this is fabric. This is printed. This is fabric on the journal card. I worked on this for so long, it's hard to hard to think back and remember exactly how you put everything together, but like I said, it's a big journal. It's fun to work in. This is a flower on this pocket here. This is a coffee filter. It flips down, not to take up any writing spots. This is another place where you can tuck things. And it has the journal card inside. Little fabric pull on there. Just a little page in there. This is a little envelope with some wallpaper in it. It's embossed with the design. There's another pocket here. This flips out. It's another one of those pages where you can write on all sides, and this flips up. It's another pocket with the fabric journal card. And this is just another. I like the design on the paper. It's decorate kind of designer papers in it. This is one of the Raggedy Ann collage pages from the journal kit. So you can use it for a page, you can use it for a cover. There's another one too with one of the Raggedy Ann images on. This is kind of more of a older looking image. Then there's a little charm down here with an owl charm and some more fabric. Okay, some more fabric, different fabric. These fabrics, like I say, can be taken off and used in your journal. They're just kind of hanging around. This is the page from the Etsy kit. Like this journal is so large, I couldn't fold them in half. I had to use them. I could use them full size. And this is another pocket. This is a bag. It doesn't have anything in it. Just a fabric tie and a little circle tab in the pocket up here. This page has like a washi tape hinge. It tucks into this pocket. It's another Franken page. This is kind of from like a desk calendar or something. Just tucks underneath here on that journal page. There's a fabric tab down here. This teeny little piece of scrap. You know, I just love that paper. But it's a little hinge. Holds this page down. Nice. Little paper, big job. There's a pocket up here. And then this is, oh, these are like the words from that calendar pages that I used. And you can tuck things under there, and that says June on it. Piece of wallpaper in here. A piece of wallpaper in here. Little Easter bunny. It must be Easter now. I just love the images. Like I said, I could not cut the book apart. You know, some people can. They can take them old books and cut the pages apart. And, you know, I just really struggle with that. I mean, I took the book apart, but I didn't destroy the story. It just kind of added to it, so it can be used. This is an envelope, distressed, and under this journal page tucks underneath the envelope flap. And then I have some more fabric up here. It's just ball pinned on. This was a little date from that calendar book. It was, the reason why I used them, it was 1987. Well, it's not really as, it's 1988 like the age of the book, but it's 1987. So I'm going to put those in there. And some more journal spots and pockets. And this flips out. It's got butterflies on. So the journal can be even used to, you know, for, here's another one of those little journal, little calendar pages. I thought they were this cute. This little card goes in that pocket. This says Thursday. This page opens up and then flips out that both ways. This has a little pocket from a little photo album. So you can put pictures in there. I thought was cute. So then that has a little Andy on it and a little tuck spot there too. That's the back of the designer paper, and this is like a music staff ball pinned with a ball pin on that tab. There's a pocket here. And this has some more fabrics down here with a little dress pinned on. This is the wallpaper, so you can use the pockets, top and bottom, like that to stay in there better. When this was like open, it was almost too big of a pocket. Some more fabric. This is a like a snippet bookmark. That's what I call them. Snippet bookmark. Has different kinds of fabrics and trims, and it's got different types of freeform stitching on. And I put a paper clip on that holds this paper down. It's just a little tuck spot under here. This says friendship, so just can put it wherever you want. Actually, this is a big Andy journal spot in here. And then this has kind of a long tab on it. Was going under there, under that paper clip. See, here's where Andy came out of the water pipes. I don't know how he got down there, but he was so happy to get out of the water pipe. And here's another little journal spot with a little wallpaper in, and some little dyed seam binding. It says Monday. And this flips out, and some more vintage wallpaper in this pocket. This is my favorite fabric. I just love that fabric. And this is another little place to put a journal card and to write. Just a little bow up on the top here. This is from an old postage stamp quilt. So I just left it the way it was and glued it on there. And here's some other journal cards. Here's some more of that postage stamp quilt. See? It's so cool. Kind of fit in good in this book. Matches the colors. And okay, so this flips up. Another journal paper in there. A little journal card in there. Some yellow lined paper. Graph paper. That I love the way that bleeds. The blue lines kind of bleed. And this is a little journal spot. Probably was a cutoff of a paper of some kind. No book page pocket. This might have been from a shirt with a button on. And vintage wallpaper in there. This opens up and has a spot back behind it for this little piece of designer paper. You can write on there. And this little wallpaper tucks in this page. This little napkin decoupage on there. Let's use all kinds of little scraps that were laying around. Here's a fabric flower. You know, I wanted to give it kind of a raggedy look, so I don't know how well I did, but and this is another place to write. This is a little felt circle. I have these felt circles, so I kind of use them as look like flowers. Little book page painted over the words, and I just love the way this paper coffee dyed. I don't know if I had graph lines on it or what at one time. It says friendship on there. It's kind of funny when you copy dyed papers, they never turn out the same. And then if they turn out really cool, they go, that's really cool, but I don't really know how to do it. I had someone that, one of my first journals that I had, like a composition book, and she liked the way the paper had bled together, and she wanted to know exactly how I had done that. And like, it was like 5 years ago, and I think that was the first time I had done that. I was like, I'm going to try to see if I can remember. And I kind of told her, I'll see if I can make a video of it and just what I do. Because, you know, she had been like spraying her papers and stuff, but I don't really do that. When I coffee dye something or I age it or something, it's, especially that composition book, that was a complete dip, and it took a long time to dry. It was not a, like, oh, quick overnight thing. So, you know, that's kind of how I work on my journals. I work in stages, and, you know, I'll age this and dye this first, and then I might take a week or two to age, and then I'll either redip some areas or, you know, just to, I like the papers to kind of look and feel similar all the way through the journal. So here's some more. So this fabric is laying over this fabric, and I kind of pinned it on to hold it in there. There's some more This was like a tracing paper I aged. So I folded it in half and then sewed around it and then applied it to the paper. So it's got kind of a neat sound to it. This little pocket up here, some fabric. And then it's got some vintage wallpaper in and another interesting journal spot here. This might be like a tsunami rose. I had some of her printables printed up, and everything kind of sits around and waits for just the right place to put them sometimes. So this I didn't tie shut in a knot. You can if you want to. And when I just kind of did it once, I wasn't holding all the time when I was working it, so I paper clipped it. But it opens up, and there's a journal spot and pockets in here, and then it opens up again for writing, and there's journal spots. These are glued down. So yeah, that when I tied it, it just kind of helped hold that paper shut. And you work kind of hard at the journal pages. You don't want them to be crunched up and smushed in your book when you turn the pages. So some more story pages. This was kind of a bigger piece I added to the journal. You know, it's a big journal. If people are working in their journal, nice to have the same fabrics and stuff. There's vintage wallpaper in there. This is just an old envelope with the tuck spot here. Some of the papers I have always have this top piece, like the 6x6. They have this hole in them, so I cut that off. Well, I thought, well, I'm going to use that. So I glued it as kind of a part of the pocket, and then put some fabric through the hole. This has just a fabric flower on. It's a vintage looking page with some coffee dyeing. There's some sheet music as a flower on the edge. This is another one of the journal cards. It says Love Ann. Another journal card and vintage wallpaper and vintage fabrics and tag in here. There's Annie in here again. This bag has quite a large piece of vintage wallpaper in it. Little vintage wallpaper here, and that flips open, and there's a pocket for writing and a guest check and a little tuck spot. And this page has this altered paper clip here. Do you remember those cards that had those little animals on? There it is. I remember they're old maid cards or what they were. I put wallpaper on the back. It's an altered paper clip. But these pages are, they'll flip open. So you can write on all sides of them. And I wanted this little paper clip to hold these down. Well, they wouldn't flop around. So there's some fabric in here with a little felt circle flower and another journal card in there. And we're coming to the last pages. This has a little twine thing hanging with a bead on out the back bottom of the book too. It's an old book page pocket in here with some wallpaper. This is another bag. There's a large piece of paper in, and that flips out for tuck spot, and another envelope in there, and some rickrack and fabric. And the back is the same cluster of fabrics with sewn together to kind of do a mosaic collage looking back. So then take our and just tie it shut. I don't know how I did it. I kind of like the blue to show. There we go. Okay, so then I was going to show you some of the little extra things I have in my Etsy store. This is kind of one of my cards. It's in a coffee filter envelope. Has some fabric flowers on it, and this is just a journal card. Goes inside here, and then these are, they're kind of altered art, I guess what they're called. And then that goes in there. And there's about 4 of them. Each of the cards are different. So you can check out the varieties in the Etsy store. Then there's something kind of like this. This is a set that comes kind of like this. It's a old book page with some flower. Well, it's like circles and lace. And has a journal card inside. And then it has this, all the fabric is different. It's this little fabric strip. It's about a yard, 36 inches. And it's kind of wrapped around this spool card. And this spool card is a printable in my Etsy store too. There's about 6 different kinds. And then there's some circle seals, I guess, that kind of match. Kind of a vintage look to them too. Then there's also have these. Well, it kind of comes like this. This little envelope with this quilted piece with the Victorian chair. One is a bird and the other one is like a butterfly. And then they're just freeform stitching around. It comes in this envelope with the flower and sewn around the edges and some stamping. It's kind of dyed. And then it has a journal card inside. So there's like 3 different ones of those too. I probably won't waste the time showing you all of them, but maybe in the video I'll just add pictures of them. And this one is, these are just kind of a pocket that has, the pocket is like an old book page, has stamping and some embellished sequins and beads on it. There's a little guest check with a little embellished flower. This little pocket on the back. And a button card. And then this, I think, is one of my sewing cards from my sewing printables. And this is just a little snippet bookmark that comes on there. Just a little. So then there's about, maybe 3 or 4 of those too. So they're in the Etsy store too. So that's about all I have to share today. And you want to kind of go over to my Etsy store and check them out. You'll find them listed over there. And the person that was asking about how I had dyed my composition book, I'm going to try to see if I can figure out how to make a video on how I did that. I think even in that video I might have said I don't know exactly if I'll ever be able to do it again, but that's what I mean. It's just that sometimes how things turn out. The composition books all have different types of dyes in the lines. Then the heat of the coffee can affect it differently. And I know that book took a long time to dry, like a week or more. So the pages kind of run together then kind of nicely. So I appreciate everybody for watching, and thank you for subscribing and following my channel and visiting my Etsy store. So I'll see you again. Bye now.